Hello. About shopping. We are talking about shopping in relation to post graduation. So, parents who have high school seniors who just graduated, congratulations. And let's talk about getting your teens ready for the next step. Before we talk about what supplies they need for the college dorm room, what supplies your teen needs for his first apartment, what she needs for that job, I want to know, what's your teen's plan? Is your teen going to college? Does she have a job? Some kind of opportunity? I want to hear from you guys. And let me know down below in the comments because I want to celebrate with you and I want to make sure I provide some useful personalized information in this and future videos. So let's talk about this. Realize we're going to talk about some things today that I know are going to help you, but if you want some personalized help, the best way for me to do that, especially when it comes to learning and school, is to set up a free strategy call. You can do that by clicking the link in the description. So, the myth today is that only soon to be college kiddos need supplies. Well, that's not true because not every kid after high school graduation goes into college. So let's talk about different needs for different paths. So, number one is college. Okay. Lots of kids are in that process right now. They're done with high school. We've got 2 or 3 months before college starts. That means a lot of prep work has to happen. A lot of went into getting your teen to high school graduation, a lot of thinking, a lot of work went into college selection, but now we still have to make that transition from high school graduation to starting college. Okay. So I want to encourage you, moms and dads. There are all sorts of different lists out there of things your teen needs for his college dorm room. Do know that if this year's your first kiddo going to college, it's going to feel kind of overwhelming. It is going to feel like, whoa, there's a lot of moving pieces. And, do your research, but also realize that the college has been through this how many hundreds of times. So they definitely probably have a list for you for your teen. And do know also your teen's not going to know exactly what he needs, what she needs before starting school. Like some of those things are just going to have to wait and see kind of things. Okay. So I have all sorts of connections, all sorts of wonderful people I can refer you to if your teen is needing some help with that transition because I can definitely help your teen learn how to learn. So if we're concerned about the academic side of things when it comes to study skills and managing time as well as note taking, all of those things, let's talk, set up that free strategy call. And you also know if you're thinking, okay, what's this college kind of atmosphere like, college kind of situation, if you will, that's where I have people I would love to connect you with. But when it comes to shopping, do you know the sheets are definitely probably the number one thing on any dorm room list because as far as I know, in my personal experience, as well as every list I've ever seen, the twin extra long sheets are at the top of the list. Do also know these are not going to be the most comfortable beds. So, depending on what kind of bed your teen currently sleeps on, some kind of topper is probably going to be important. Some way to make it more comfortable. Now, I know I've said it in past videos, it's been probably quite a while at this point, but do know your teen, no matter where he's going, where she's going, if it's to an apartment, if it's going to a dorm room, going to, even abroad, do know having some personal items are going to be really, really important. Okay. So I encourage your teen to take a favorite blanket, a favorite stuffed animal, some pictures, something to really personalize that area. Very, very important because all brand new things in an all brand new environment, there's not going to be any comfort for your teen, especially if your teen's going to college, a job, whatever, several hours, several thousands of miles away. Okay. So do know when it comes to shopping for college, like I said, some things, the lists are all going to say the same thing. The college definitely has one. So if your teen has not gone through all the dorm room selection stuff, there will be all sorts of information available from the college. It really just depends on what your teen's dorm room is going to look like. For us, in my first dorm room, I didn't have AC. And so having lots and lots of fans was very, very important. But maybe your teen will have AC. And so, The only fan your teen needs is maybe a small desk fan to be more comfortable while studying. Okay. Do you also know you've got to know what furniture is going to be provided by the college in the dorm room, because your teen might be in a suite situation where there's 5, 6, whatever kids in multiple rooms, and so we'll need some like main common area furniture. It could be a situation like I was when we had a community shower and there were 2 people per room. So each room came with 2 desks and beds that could be bunk beds or not bunk beds, and 2 dressers and really small closets. So just know what supplies your teen needs for her dorm room, for his dorm room. Really going to be personal choices as well as college specific, as well as what's going to work in that dorm room. So definitely this summer, I encourage you, if your teen's going to college, going to be living in a dorm, figure out exactly what the school is providing, what the setup is. Okay, because like I said, over the summer, your teen's going to be figuring out the roommate situation, and that also is going to determine what do you need to buy. Because if your teen's living with another person she's never met before, he's never met before, they're going to have to decide on the big stuff like the TVs and on the microwaves and on the fridges and all that. Do also remember certain things are allowed at certain colleges, other things are pretty much universally not allowed. So like candles, pretty much universally not allowed, anything with an open flame. When it comes to like toaster ovens and hot plates and tea kettles, all those kind of plug-in things, very dependent on the school. I was at an old enough school, an old enough building that, if you plugged in too many hair dryers into the bathroom, that would cause the fire alarms to go off and break the circuits, or what's the word, blow the fuses and whatever. So be prepared, okay? You got to have some personal things here. And it also might just be, too, when your kid gets there, maybe you bought something that A, there's not room for, so it has to go back home immediately, or B, maybe this thing is needed, and so it's so much easier to go buy it once your teen knows there's a need for it than trying to stuff it in the car when there wasn't really room for it in the car in the first place. Okay, so I could talk a lot about supplies and dorm rooms. Just know that shopping needs to happen over time. I mean, if I've got any parents watching that have kids in high school thinking about college but aren't going to college in the fall, well, this is a perfect time to start buying things. We did it over several years. I had a hope chest, called it the tub of hope, but a little old-fashioned, I know, but just know, we built it over several years, so it wasn't expensive all in one go, and it really gave me a chance to kind of pick a style, pick some preferences, and it turned out to be really handy for my dorm room and also my first apartment. Okay, so before I go into any apartment specifics, do know that I'm live on Facebook and on YouTube right now. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ace Cookie Tutoring, and my Facebook business page, Ace Cookie Tutoring, so you catch all future videos. Because we're going to have more myths that we're going to bust all about post-graduation the remainder of the week. So for anybody that has a kiddo not going the college route after high school graduation, let's talk about first apartments. So first apartments, kind of like with the dorm room, buy things over a period of time. That's going to save a lot of money. It's going to be a lot easier, especially to accumulate things. Okay. And in first apartments, not everything has to be new. It's wonderful if they can be. Does it have to be? No. I mean, we all have to start somewhere. Now, when it comes to both first apartments, dorm shopping, let alone, anything for your child's next step, you've got to decide, moms and dads, are you paying for everything? Are you paying for some things? Is your teen going to be responsible? Because your teen most likely got some graduation money. So what's that for? Okay, definitely. We'll talk more about money tomorrow, but just know when buying these supplies, we got to consider the cost and who's paying for what. Okay. Now let's go back to first apartments. So do know, same kind of idea as a dorm room. Who is your teen living with? Is she living by herself? She's going to need, everything. And with an apartment, you're going to have to provide that furniture we talked about most colleges providing. So do know that's one of the things to consider with an apartment. You've got to have some kind of furniture, beyond a bed. We probably need some kind of living room furniture, some kind of chairs, tables, that kind of thing. All right. And, apartments, you also have to we do have to consider utilities. Those are going to be an additional thing that, don't have in a dorm room. But again, we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we talk about money. And I know I'm going a little long. I try to keep these under 10 minutes, but for anyone that has a kiddo going to a job situation or some kind of opportunity that's not college, that's not a first apartment, do know supplies can and probably do include uniforms. Okay. I've had jobs before where I had to have certain pants a certain color or shirts that had certain collars and buttons and sleeves and the color. I've also had jobs where you had to wear certain protective equipment. So, certain boots, certain helmets, all of those things are part of different uniforms. So again, decide who's paying for what and when are we doing the shopping. Okay. And your teen has to know what the requirements are. So if your teen is on kind of the way to starting a new job and we've gone through orientation or we're starting training very soon, those are something your teen needs to pay attention to is how do I need to dress for the job? Quite literally, what equipment do I need? Because if I go kind of a very different route for a minute, not necessarily uniform when it comes to a job, things like being a groomer have all sorts of equipment that is needed. And a lot of that's not provided by the store, by the company. Other places, I know, hairstylist and cosmetology school, you have to pay for a lot of that as well. It's not included in tuition. It's considered equipment. I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but all sorts of costs to consider, all sorts of shopping that needs to happen that isn't directly related to college. Okay. So, parents, I hope this helps. I hope you've shared with me what your teen's plans are, if they're going to college, if they've got a job lined up, if they've got some kind of opportunity lined up, and if they're going to have a first apartment. I want to know so I can provide some more personalized help here on my YouTube channel and Facebook business page. And remember, if you want to talk, if you want to learn more about my Love to Learn program, how I can help your teen personalize his own learning, her own learning, so they can actually like to learn. Because I got to tell you, knowing how to learn is an expectation of all high school kiddos heading into college. And for anyone that wants their kids to continue to learn for the rest of their life, no matter if it's in or out of school, let's talk about Love to Learn. Okay, so book a free strategy call by clicking the link in the description, filling out my intake form, and we'll get it scheduled here very soon. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for the next myth.